Eddie Alvarez slams the UFC over the quote-unquote dirty treatment of Nate Diaz. Recently, emails were leaked between Dana White and matchmaker Joe Silva from back in 2010. If you haven't seen the email, Joe said to Dana that he purposely lowballed Nate Diaz on his new contract. He said that if Nate turned down the next offer, they will put him on the prelims against a tough opponent for his last fight. Speaking to MMAfighting.com, Eddie said, "Did you see that email? What they were doing to Nate? Oh my God, how dirty, how dirty." That's the sport, and that's important for the up-and-coming fighter who wants to be in this business, for them to understand that, like, if you're not cooperative, what the conversation is. In the boardroom, if you're not cooperative. Those are the conversations that are being had about you, the fighter who's signing these contracts. If you don't cooperate, I dealt with this in Bellator. I knew they were trying to kill me off. The minute I didn't want to stay. When you don't want to stay, when you don't want to cooperate, the next thing is, how can we get him beat? How do we devalue him? To the point where he can't fight for anyone but us. That's just the sport. Those emails reveal it's so boom, right in your face. It was talked about. It was talked about and it was a conspiracy theory. But now we see it like, oh wow, that's how they speak about us when we're not around. Kevin Holland predicts Leon Edwards will defeat Colby Covington at UFC 296. Kevin says that it'd be nice to have the belt back in America. However, Colby is an exception and he doesn't want him to have it.
Colby, Leon Edwards.
Who I got?
Yeah.
Oh no.
That's a tough one to pick.
No, not really. You know, like I would like to go for no. Yeah. Leon got it.
You got Leon?
Yeah, I got it. You know, I mean, it's nice to have the belt back in America, but Colby's that exception. You just like really don't want him.
I don't want him to win, but I just think he wins.
You think he wins?
Yeah, but I don't want him to. I just think he's a weasel. You can't talk about someone's family and they get run up on and then try to press charges. I don't like that.
Yeah, you know.
I get it. He got sucker punched, but I get it. But
yeah, but he ain't winning this fight.
Alexander Volkanovski plans to embarrass Ilia Topuria at UFC 298. Volk says Ilia thinks he's the man and wants to teach him a lesson. Volk said, if people are going to see weakness, if my opponents think that's weakness, the beautiful thing is, I have mixed emotions about people seeing me like that. Then I'm like, you know what? I'm glad I did because it was positive, I believe. A lot of people need to see that. Not just that, people get to see what happens next. I hope these people are seeing it as weakness. Watch me walk through my next opponents. Watch me do what I'm going to do and shut these people up. Then all of a sudden, I can literally look at these people and be like, shut your mouth. That's right, I'm still that guy. You might see me as vulnerable, but don't forget, hey, one day, I might be a little vulnerable. You might see me there covering my face at one point, but the next week, I'm the baddest man on the planet. You remember that, and some people need to be reminded. The beautiful thing is I get to remind them not too far away. This guy thinks he's the man. It's funny for me, I've always wanted to earn my stripes, earn these positions, put myself in there and earn that respect. This guy's just getting things given to him, and probably not even that much, but he thinks he's the man. The beautiful thing about it is I get to teach this kid a lesson. Ready to go out there? I'm hoping to teach him a lesson, humble him a little bit, and let him wake up to himself, and then he can bounce back when my time's done. He needs a bit of humbling. 26, perfect age. He needs the world to see. He maybe needs a bit of embarrassment and snap things into gear, and maybe one day be a great champion. Right now he wants to act like how he's acting. I'm just gonna teach him a lesson. I'm gonna embarrass him. He's young enough to bounce back in a positive way. I'll play teacher for the next few months. Here's some recent footage of Conor McGregor sparring PFL featherweight Brendan Loughnane.
Seconds. 30 seconds. I got it. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3, big one.
Michael Bisping predicts that Leon Edwards will defeat Colby Covington.
I don't want to take away from his victory, far from it, but I'm just saying, you know, that had a big impact, the way that he knocked out Conor Usman. It really did. Now, I think Colby's a little bit different. He's kind of packaged the same way on paper, but I think the pace, I think the output, and I also think that with the stakes being so high, the fact that he is 35, 36, it's his third attempt at a title fight. I don't think he gets another one. So I think you put all that together, I think it's going to be a tough fight. But I do believe more than likely Leon pulls it off.
Well, and with Colby's weaponized cardio, like he could bring a level of fatigue to Leon that he had to deal with similarly to the first fight with Kamaru. Because I mean, look, he got the knockout, he got the final blow, but up until that point, it was one-way traffic for 3 rounds for Kamaru Usman. Aside from the first round, Kamaru pretty much manhandled him for 3 rounds until the knockout. But Colby has enough cardio within him that he could push a pace on Leon Edwards to get to get that level of fatigue to where he could maybe make him struggle a little bit more.
Dan Henderson says that he would have beat the out of Jon Jones if their scheduled fight at UFC 151 actually happened. This is when Dan had to withdraw due to tearing his MCL. Chael Sonnen offered to step in, but Jon declined, and the whole event ended up getting canceled. Speaking to ESPN, Hendo said, "That's the one fight I wish I would have had that I never had. I was probably the most prepared for that fight that I've ever been. Just kind of blew my knee out a little bit before the fight. It happened about 3.5 weeks before the fight when I hurt my knee. Still had the idea that I was going to be able to fight. It would have been tough, but I would have gotten it done. My team kind of talked some sense into me. It just wasn't a smart idea. That's the only fight I've ever pulled out of in my 20-year career, so I was kind of bummed. I was 100% certain I was going to beat the out of him. I absolutely would have beat him up in my mind. I was so prepared, not just physically prepared, but tactically. My game plan, everything. And being used to longer guys, I just was so ready. And I think all my training partners would attest to that." Jon Jones has responded to Dan. Jon left a comment saying, "How can you confidently say that when I've already choked you out?" Jon is referring to their Submission Underground grappling match that took place around 6 years ago. And that's going to wrap it up for the news. Thanks for watching. For daily MMA news and content, subscribe to Full Mount MMA and click the bell icon to be notified when we post videos. Here are the 3 top comments from last video. The first one's from Bigfoot PRD. It's in reference to Israel Adesanya taunting Alex Bejeda. It says, "Is he legit becoming the guy saying I beat that guy once?" The second one's from Mr. J. It says, "It's comical how Izzy is still holding on to this one and only victory over Alex. Gonna be sitting at a bar talking about I beat that guy once." Eating his own words. Priceless. And the final one says, "Izzy is just insane. He didn't beat him at light heavyweight. You beat him once, he beat you 3 times. Just sad to see Izzy act like that. No common sense at all." Those were the 3 top comments from last video. If you want to be featured in the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. And if you missed yesterday's news, click the video on screen right now to get caught up.